What do you think is unnecessarily expensive? Insulin. Like, why the fuck is it so expensive? Production of insulin doesn't cost much, but it's being sold expensive, even though some people die without it. But how else will the sellers buy their third yacht? What they want you to think. We are paying for R&D, admin and marketing. This includes recouping the costs for products that never hit the market. What is really happening? They exist to bleed every penny from us, if it happens to help us in the process. Cool. The toner of copiers, printers, shaving blades, water, rent. Boomers be like, stupid young people not having inheritance. EpiPens. Diamonds. The price is controlled and there is no reason for them to be expensive. I'm 30 and it's becoming increasingly popular for women around my age to choose alternative stones for their engagement rings. I personally have a moissanite one, and have seen the same along with several sapphire, emerald, morganite, etc. rings from others. Suck it, De Beers. And they're much more common than people think. IDK why everyone wants diamonds for jewelry. Sapphires, rubies, emeralds, etc. are so much prettier. Emo. Life. School. Healthcare. We are all going to get sick. It's one of the biggest hustles out there. That's only a problem here in America. Everyone else has it figured out. Canada chiming in, we don't have it as figured out as we like people to believe. Dying. Only if you go to a funeral home. That's why my loved ones are gonna bury my unpreserved corpse in the desert somewhere. Tampons. Switch to a menstrual cup. One-time charge about the cost of 4 boxes. And it'll last for ages. Decreased risk of toxic shock syndrome. 2. Those don't work for everyone. And they do come with a significant change in how up close and personal you get with your period. So I can understand why they aren't more popular. That's very true. You have to get comfortable with your anatomy to use them as your I personally don't think it's too big a step for someone to take when they're already accustomed to tampons. But I know some women who just couldn't get comfortable with a masseur, but for those who can, it's a great investment. Plus, some companies donate one to women in need for each purchase, which can be life-changing for a young woman who has to miss school during her period due to lack of supplies. Medical care in the U.S. At the beginning of 2018, I had a total thyroidectomy to treat thyroid cancer. I walked in the hospital around 10 a.m. Monsieur. Surgery was around 12:30 p.m. Monsieur. I was in recovery about 2.5 hours later, and I was discharged around 8 p.m. Monsieur, so I was there for about 10 hours. Hospital initially billed my insurance $19,000. Surgeon and anesthesiologist bills were separate, so it was literally the cost of looking after me for 10 hours. Insurance negotiated down to $3,000 and paid for 90%, with the remaining $300 forgiven because I work for the university that is affiliated with the hospital. So at the end of the day, I paid nothing out of pocket for the hospital stay, though the other separate bills ended up costing me about $700. But still, what the actual fuck? Why do we tolerate this healthcare model? In 2017, I had to have a tumor removed from the middle and inner of my right ear, where it had destroyed most of the bones and was millimeters from abscessing into my brain, which would have killed me. The surgery was $369,000 before insurance and after insurance. It still cost over $100,000. I'll be paying for the surgery for the rest of my life. For one surgery. That doesn't include the follow-up treatments and such that I have to go through every 3 to 6 months for the next several years. Female hygiene products. Just buy the male version, okay? Norelco S6000. Male tampons FTW. MANPONS. Starbucks. Sims 4 expansion packs. Event concessions. Textbooks. Books. I was gifted a $25 voucher a few years back and honestly was shocked by how limited my options were. For that price, Used books are too expensive. I get that they need to turn a profit, but a book that's 10 plus years old with wear and tear is not worth $14 when the library has them for free. Thrift stores sell them for a couple dollars, and they're half that price for e-readers. Printer ink, beef jerky. Once you make it yourself, you understand where the cost goes. Sure, it's only a pound in the bag, but it took 7 to 8 pounds of meat to make it. I just made 3 pounds of it last night. It's a pain in the ass but rewarding. Anything made by Apple. Mend razor blades. Get a double-edged safety razor. I buy replacement blades once every year or two for less than $20. I tried that for about half a year and got little nicks several times a week. Each shave was like a challenge not to nick myself. I loved that they cost 5 cents each. But what a pia. I went back to the Ultra Pro Super Glide 5 Turbo Zip T-Blade 3000 whatever and haven't had a nick in months. It's smoother and I get a couple weeks out of each cartridge. It's a rip, but worth it. Makeup. Yeti anything. Another brand that has suckered people into thinking the premium price is worth it. Any generic brand sells a comparable product that works just as well for half the price on the high-end houses. The one across the street from me just sold for $200K. It's just a cookie cutter house. Nothing special. Doesn't even have a dining room, I guess, if people will pay it. Frames for pictures. Just a picture frame with no glass is expensive from a professional. Then with glass it's very expensive as well. Maybe I'm missing something. I can definitely attest to this. When I finished a program at university, I decided to get a frame with the institution's name embossed in the inner fabric part. Still cannot believe they were charging $450 CAD, and still sleeping at night. Golf gear. I grew up playing golf. After years I stopped because none of my friends golfed anymore. So I got into disc golf with some other friends. Now, hearing what clubs cost these days makes me not regret getting out of it. You can go to used sports stores and buy clubs from 5 to 10 years ago, which is how I got my last driver for hella cheap as long as they're not from the 90s. Early 2000s you're good. I wish actually playing golf wasn't so expensive. That's the reason my dad stopped being so into it. To be clear, he's a lawyer who loved golf. A perfect golfer stereotype, and quit because it was personally embarrassing to spend that much money even if my parents can afford it. Now he just plays when other people prompt. A catchphrase of his is, "Business gets done on the golf course," is one of the biggest excuses to do nothing and call it a job I've heard. Internet and cell phone plans. Nitroglycerin edit. Oops, read this as unnecessarily explosive, my bad. Funerals. Someone just died. Why do you make it even more difficult for the people who take care of their body? My second pick would be wedding, but I figured it's people who make it expensive in order to meet others' expectation and they just take advantage of it. Literally any certification. If you can't get your business to pay for it, expect paying $700 plus to get a basic certification. The one I'm thinking of is CompTIA, which CompTIA cert is $700 plus. The most expensive one I'm seeing is $452 USD. It's sneaky. You have to take multiple tests to get certified. For example, for the A+ certification, you need *2* vouchers, one for test A and another for test B. CompTIA is not a cert. It's an organization, and I don't recall ever paying anything close to $700 for a CompTIA cert. Video cards. Or people really buying $400 plus video cards? I built my first PC around 10 years ago and spent around £500. It lasted me a long time and was pretty good. Started looking recently to rebuild and was shocked how expensive building PC has got. I swear everything has doubled in price. Feels like the cost of PCs has gone up far more than consoles. College. Why do I need to pay thousands of dollars just to learn things? And not all degrees are as amazing and valuable in the job industry as people say. Why are college professors getting paid so much as compared to grade school teachers? Pay for professors varies wildly by field. You often see averages given for universities, but those are usually really misleading and make it seem like professors are doing better than most of them really are. Professors in medicine are often earning 10 to 15 times what the faculty in English are getting. Law, business, and engineering also pull the averages way up. There are also tons of temporary and adjunct faculty out there getting paid incredibly shitty wages. Rent. Where a friend lives, a one-bedroom is $3,000. Where I live, it's $1,000. And, in my opinion, $1,000 is still too high. There is no reason to charge someone so much for such a tiny space. If I want cheaper rent, I have to go to more rural areas. And if I do, I then have to get a car due to lack of public transport. So there goes all my saved money. Yeah, rent sucks. Hella profitable for the owners but shitty for the renters. Exactly. Fetch lands. Right now, toilet paper. I was at a Shell station when the panic buying started and needed at least one roll. Gas stations typically sell those Scott single ply in a single roll. Price listed was like $3 to $4. I thought that was pretty outrageous when there was a 4PK listed for like $2.35 or something. They said the 4-pack was delivered by mistake and not part of their inventory despite there being a price label on the shelf for it. Ambulance rides cost more than the hospital bill itself sometimes. And meanwhile the actual EMTs have an incredibly sucky job and aren't paid nearly enough. Microtransactions in video games. Take GTA Online for example. $100 shark card gives you just 8 Monsieur like WTF. Cheese. Depending on the cheese, it can take a lot of man-hours and time. But crap singles? Yeah, I agree with you there. Graphics cards, cashews, cars, glasses and frames. They charge you like the glasses are being custom made. But they're not. Lenses essentially just have sizes like clothing and they are produced in mass. There is no reason that glasses and frames should cost more than $40. Stella Artois. It's not that nice. College textbooks. It makes no sense that you need to set aside an extra $1,000 just to purchase your books for 5 classes or less. I guess I was lucky but I got away without buying a single textbook for 7 of my 8 semesters. First semester I was young and dumb. Between online PDFs, photocopying important pages from friends, and $15 international editions, I never had any issue not buying textbooks. For open book tests just borrow a book or use the previous edition. My only complaint is when homework is online and you're forced to pay $90 to access it. Fuck you Pearson. And fuck you Mastering XYZ. Pads, tampons, period supplies. Approximately half the population needs them. So why the fuck are they being treated like they're not a necessity? Because the other half makes most of the decisions. They are treated as a necessity. That's why they are expensive. If it wasn't needed it would be cheap. Anything pink or made for women. Why the heck are pink razors more than blue ones? Why does my deodorant cost more? Our clothing costs more and has less pockets. Feminine supplies are expensive and all of personal hygiene items are very specific and can be quite costly. Slap it made especially for a woman label on it and automatically get a 20% increase in price. They cost more because people will pay it. Skeptical smiley face. Movie theater food and drinks. You can buy an entire crate of soda at a dollar store instead of buying food at a theater. I was told that where they make actual profit, the distributors, studios take a large part of the box office sales. But the large blockbusters guarantee to bring in a crowd. The theater's cut of the ticket sales can be as low as 10%. I usually go out of my way to buy something from my favorite movie theater to support their business. They are local owned. Hope they make it through this shutdown. Mattresses, glasses. I don't wear them, but my sister does. Why is it so expensive to see? Most prescriptions are pretty much custom made. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.